Hi Perth, tax time is only a week away, and in today's video I'll be helping you guys maximize your tax refund and deductions. Are you excited and ready to learn? If yes, here are my 5 top tax tips on what deductions you can claim this year to maximize your tax refunds. So number 1 is work-related car expenses. So with work-related car expenses, bear in mind there's 2 possible methods you can claim the work-related car expenses. The first condition is it has to be a travel from work to work. I mean, anything between home to work or work to home is still considered as personal from ATO's point of view. Now, coming back to the 2 methods to claim the work-related car expenses. Method number 1 is called the cents per kilometer method. So in this method, we are not required to provide any paperwork or any documents. However, we are still required to justify ATO how many kilometers we've traveled for work purposes. So let's say if you were required to travel from one work site to another work site and you were doing 50 kilometers a day and you were doing 5 days a week, you can actually claim, you can work out the total number of kilometers traveled for the whole year, and you can multiply that by 66 cents. The only condition is that it has to be work related, and number 2 is there's actually a cap of 5,000 kilometers, which means the maximum deduction you can claim is $3,300 in the whole year, but you're not required to produce any evidence, any paperwork, but just justify how did you work out your number of kilometers for work. The second possible method to claim the work-related car expenses is the logbook method. So in the logbook method, you can actually maximize your tax deductions. The only condition is that you are required to maintain a logbook for a period of 12 weeks. Right, so when we maintain a logbook for a period of 12 weeks, we work out the number of kilometers for business and the number of kilometers for personal, and then we just claim on pro rata basis. So let's say your business use after 12 weeks is 80%, so you can claim 80% of your car registration expenses, car insurance, car repairs and maintenance, car fuel, and car depreciation. And in some cases, you can even claim up to 5 to 10 grand worth of expenses, but the condition is that you have to have a logbook and your travel was actually from work to work. Number 2 tax deduction which you can claim is the work-related travel expenses. So in work-related travel expenses, it's different than the work-related car expenses. And in here, we can actually, if we are required to travel interstate, let's say from Perth to Melbourne or Perth to Sydney, or if you're required to travel overseas, as long as it's work-related, you can claim the tax deductions for your flights, accommodation and meals, and any other travel expenses such as car parking or anything. So if you are traveling for work, I suggest you to keep an eye on this tax deduction because you can actually maximize your tax deductions. Again, the condition is that it has to be work related. You cannot claim your holiday in Bali. It's a straight away no-no. Right. Number 3 is the work from home expenses. So work from home expenses is something a lot of people are actually not aware of, right? So with work from home expenses, there's 2 possible methods you can claim tax deductions. Number 1 is called the cents per hour method. So in this method, we just work out the number of hours we work throughout the whole year, and we multiply that by 52 cents. I think it's 50 or 52 cents per hour. Pretty simple method, no evidence required, no paperwork required, but you just have to work on how many hours you were working. The other method, which does require a bit of work, but there's higher tax deduction, is the actual method where, let's say you have a home office and that room is just reserved for your work. So in that case, you have to pull out the map of the house and work out how much area is occupied for your home office. So let's say your house area is 300 square meters and your home office is 50 square meters. So 50 divided by 300. So that means you can claim 17% of your house rental expenses, 17% of your electricity expenses, and 17% of your gas expenses. And in some cases, the tax deduction can go up to 5 to 10 grand a year. But again, you do have to justify ATO how you worked out your home office. office. Number 4 tip is telephone and internet. So telephone, obviously most of us use our telephone for work, and if you are using your telephone and internet for work, ATO does require us to maintain a diary for at least a month, and in that case we can claim the telephone expenses for business use. So let's say if your telephone costs $100 a month and you pay $1,200 for the whole year, and you worked out that your telephone business usage is 50%, so you can claim $600 as the telephone and internet expense. But again, you're required to justify ATO how you worked out the business use. Number 5 is self-education. So self-education, it's one of the biggest tax deduction, because if you're spending 20-30 grand on your education in a year, and if your education and work is the same, right, if there is a link between your current work and your education, then you can claim that as a tax deduction. But again, there has to be a strong link, and as long as your education is actually helping you grow your skills and increase your income, you can claim the self-education expenses. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys.